Okay, so tonight I have my glasses on. I know people wonder who is this woman, but anyway, so you're going to see a change, but we're going to surprise you. So what we're going to do now, we're going to have our models to come up in fashion. Woo! All right, Kimberly, do your thing. Do your thing.
Get on down.
There you go, girl. How low can you go? How low? All right, don't get stuck.
I need some big Okay.
All right.
I think this is my racetrack shirt.
I like that shirt. I love it. You know what it looks like? That Cupid ball with that little thing? Ruby, yeah. Yeah, we can put it all together, Kim. I love
I was at a resale shop in Dallas and I had to have it. I just had to have it. And it goes well with my Anya Highmark bag.
I like
It
that
complements
bag.
it so well. So I just paired it with this. Something light and easy. We had chicken. We had chicken in a salad so you can cover up all the bloat, after you eat. Elma fed us. She fed us before the show.
I love it. How low can you go?
I know, right? Wait a minute, somebody get me up.
All right. We have to get Carlos to come pick you up.
And here's Kathy.
All right, Kathy, our special guest, is going to show and do her thing.
Go on, girl. Take the mic.
I'll do my thing. I'm wearing something. I got my little summer. This is my summer dress.
I love it.
I keep remembering how easy it is just to put on a dress and some heels, and you are ready to go.
Oh, you go, girl. Oh, you look so beautiful. I love the earrings.
Thank you very much. A large earring and a shaved head. It looks wonderful together.
Beautiful nails. Show those nails.
My check knee light is on. So if I start doing the,
All right. All right.
You know that Kroger song?
yes, I look like the Kroger commercial. Hey, this is it. I told y'all
the inspector watching.
Yes, my check knee light is on. So that's all you gonna get on the knee department.
All right, we thought we'd do something a little different tonight, just to crank it up a little. Thank you all for that beautiful model. Give it up for Kim and Kathy. Look, K&K. Woo! K&K, I love that. I love it. Okay, so on tonight's show, we're blessed to have Kathy Witten. And Kathy is all the way from Colorado. She moved to Texas, and now she is a Texan. And she loves it, and she is so creative. Very creative, can write plays. She is so anointed, I tell you. I don't even know where to start. So, Kathy, we're so happy that you're here tonight. And we want to get all into your business.
Fair enough.
And you have a lot of business, okay? And we're gonna play. She's, an awesome speaker, dynamic speaker. She knows the word of God and she lives it. And I love that. So tonight, Kathy, tell us a little bit about what?
You didn't say I live the word of God.
She said,
you didn't say I live the word of God. Everybody, let's look at Kim.
Kim, you live the word of God. Hey, look, but Kim is already a host. This is our special guest.
I thought you were going to say
But
a
you
hoe.
supposed to-
I thought you were going to say a hoe.
That's what I love about this show. Oh, Christmas in July. Santa, ho, 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 ho. Kim is so fun. But I forgot, Kim, do you approve Kathy tonight? Yes, we approve it. But we love this show so much because we have fun. You have to look over Kimberly, I tell you. She's the youngest of the ARP. But anyway, tonight, I tell you, she just took away my...
You lost your train of thought.
I lost my whole train of thought, boy. Ho, 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 ho. But anyway, no, Kimberly, we love you so much. So anyway, Kim has approved Kathy being here.
Kathy, yes, thank you for
And
coming.
thank you for thanking her for coming. Thank you. And thank you very much. Thank you very much. So tonight we're in for a treat. We want to know how you got started. Tell us a little bit about yourself, your book that she's writing a book.
Yes.
And this book is going through probably scratch here, scratch that, editing here, editing. Or we gonna have a book after you get through scratching out this and editing this.
I know, it feels like that. It feels like that. So like co-pastor said, I am originally from Colorado. I was actually born in Oklahoma City.
Wow. Really?
Yes,
Wow.
Oklahoma City.
Wow.
And then, but I grew up, most of my life in Colorado, in Denver, Colorado.
Wow, that's
and
nice.
It's the home of the Rocky Mountains. It's the home of weed.
Wow.
It's the home of, because everything is
You said
legalized.
weed.
Did you say weed? That's what I was
Yes,
weed.
it's the home of weed.
Weed, y'all.
Yes,
Is that smoking weed?
Yes, because
Ooh,
everything
but it's
is
legal there.
That's what I'm saying. Everything is
Wow.
legalized there.
wow.
There's medicinal marijuana, so people use it for pains and aches and treatment and
Entertainment too.
Yeah, well, yes, but you can do that. You can
Mostly
do entertainment. I guess that's true.
Pain, right?
Yes, it's like they're gonna say, "Oh, I got glaucoma. I got glaucoma, or I've got some pains going on right
Let me
now."
go get some weed.
Mhm.
You got to move to Colorado.
This is Texas.
You got to
This
move to
is
Colorado.
Texas, so you're gonna have to pray about this. I think Texas is leaning that way, but we have to make it look like we're going down with a fight because there's so much
Going on.
yes right now, so
Okay.
people don't want to say. But I grew up in Colorado,
Okay.
and I loved Colorado, but the Lord just put it on my husband's heart and my heart that it was time to move to Texas.
Okay.
And we moved to Texas in 2012. We moved to Amarillo, Texas.
Oh, okay.
And I know. When the Lord says move to Texas, nobody says, "Oh, we're gonna move to Amarillo."
And it's cold up there too, isn't it?
It's colder there than it is in Colorado
See,
because
so-
it's more humid.
Wow.
It's more humid there, and yes,
Yeah.
you are in the Panhandle, like Amarillo, love it. But it was beautiful there too. I actually came to work for a theater company. That's the reason that we came, Amarillo Little Theater. And so I started and I was teaching there and working with Amarillo Little Theater. And then we moved to DFW and it just sort of transitioned. I've been writing plays for over 25 years.
Some awesome plays too.
Oh,
Awesome.
thank you.
Yeah.
Like, I absolutely love it. I started doing it for my church in Colorado. I used to go to Heritage Christian Center. And then Heritage sort of transitioned into the Potter's House. But I started writing plays there like over 25 years ago. But I've always been a writer. I was writing when I was a teenager. I think most little girls, sometimes they have their diary, their little journal that they write in. I started with one of the little white leather ones that had the lock. Remember
I
that?
have one of them. I still have mine.
Do you?
It's pink. I still have
And
it.
and the lock didn't do anything because I had brothers and they would they'd pick the little lock just to see
picking the lock.
Yes, just to see
Oh,
what was
wow.
written in there. I said, my brother's like, "Oh, I hear you want to marry Michael Jackson." I was like, "What? What are you doing in my diary?" Mhm.
Oh, wow.
But I started writing then because it was an outlet for me.
Okay.
It was an outlet. There was always something going on in my life.
Uh-huh.
And so no matter what was happening outside, I could go in my room and I could write. I could write poetry. I could write
That's
stories.
Yeah.
But then as I grew older, one of the things I noticed when I was in church,
Mm-hmm.
I got more out of church when it was illustrated to me.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, how people would
Uh-huh.
do like an illustrated sermon,
Mhm.
and either they might bring some props on the stage, or they might, or they might bring other people on stage, and I would get it then. I was always drawn to it. I was captivated, and I kept praying about it, and I was like, "Lord, there has to be something to this." And then the church that I went to, when I tell you, plays were our thing. We started, it was a really small church.
Mhm.
It was like our small church, right? But by the time Pastor Dennis, actually it's Bishop Leonard, and he passed away recently, but that sanctuary, by the time we left, it seated almost 5,000, just under 5,000. And the church had grown, and most of the people that attended service there, if you ask them, like, "What brought you to church? Did a friend bring you?" And they'll say, "No, I came to see a play. I came to see a play."
That's good though.
It
That's
really
good.
was. So every year there was an Easter play. Every year there was a Christmas play.
Okay.
And when I tell you they invested into it. A lot of churches look at it like, oh, we're not going to do that. That's too, but it's hard sometimes to get people to come to church. Like when you're at work or something and you're like, hey, come to my church. And they're like, oh, okay. Girl, I'm so busy this weekend, or you know what I mean? They always come up.
But I promise you I'm going to show up.
Exactly. I'll come. Yes. And then they never show up. And then you see them at work on Monday and they're like, oh, I can't tell you what happened. See, I just got busy or I overslept. But every time we'd say to somebody, do you want to come to a play? And it's free. And they're like, oh, yes. Yes.
I like that.
And we had our plays would have casts, like our largest play would have casts of over 300 people, because there's the main characters, there's soldiers, there's villagers. We used to, it was funny, there's a camel that we worked with every year for Easter. His name was Hooter. Yes, a real camel. Ooh, yes, his name was Hooter. Pastor Dennis and his sons, they were really inventive and creative. Some of them we had aerial dancers and things like that. Now, the first time I saw Hooter, I wasn't writing plays for them at that time, but the first time I saw Hooter, and black folks, we were like, is there a reason there's a camel on the stage? Like, what is real camel? Yes, like what is happening? And it was funny because one of the plays I did, Hooter got used to the sound of my voice. And so Christopher and I were in this same play. And so he would hear my voice and he'd come moving in the direction that I was in. Oh, wow. And the lady that would lead him, she's like, he hears you. So he's coming your way. And camels have interesting lips. And he's like a puppy, he's moving towards you. And I was like, Hooter, I love you, but I cannot kiss you. Hooter,
I want to kiss him.
I know, but let me tell you, one year, one of our pastor's sons used to keep horses on church grounds because it was a few acres of land. And so one year, they couldn't take Hooter back to where the farm was where he kept. Exactly. And so they said, you know what? We'll put the camel with the horses until the next play, because we do plays at night, and then on Saturdays you do two, the matinee and the evening. Yeah. Right. So in between the matinee and the evening, it's like, let's take the camel out and let's put him with the horses. And the horses were like, no. And so they're leading him out, and you could see the horses starting to get agitated, right? Oh. And they're running back and forth in their pen. They're running back and forth, and we're looking. And I said, I don't know much about horses, but I don't think this is a good idea. And the closer he got, the horses got more and more agitated. So what happened was the horses split. They knocked down the gates of the corral where they were, and they took off running one way. The camel snatched his reins and everything out of the person's hand, and he took off running the other way. So he's running up a busy street in Colorado, and the police... And the police knew. They were on their radio, okay, there's a camel running up Parker Road. And so we know it belongs to Heritage. We know there's a reason this camel is running up the road. And people were driving by okay, what is happening? Am I drunk? What? Why is there a horse? But the plays because everybody's not an usher. Everybody's not a greeter. Everybody doesn't work in the children's ministry. And so you lose people in your body if you don't give them a creative outlet.
That's true. I agree with
and
that.
people that are really creative, we look for ways to create. If the church doesn't give us one, then we're going to go write poetry. We're going to go do plays. We're going to go do music. But the things that the church usually embraces, like musicians, they always have their time at church, but all the time. Yeah. But for people that want to, whether they want to dance, whether they want to sing, whether they want to do the film aspect, the videography, whether they want to do set design, unless you create a place for that.
That's true. That's good.
And so I started to contribute to their plays, and then Heritage transitioned into the Potter's House. Bishop, he retired for a short time, and then Chris Hill was there. And so I assisted with writing plays for the Potter's House Denver. And then, like I said, I loved like you had license, but not really license. Because, with the exception of here, usually when you write a play for a church, you have to go through everybody. You have to go through pastor. You've got to go through the assistant. You've got to go through the church mother. You've got to go because there are certain things they don't want said, or there are certain things, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
and so you don't have the opportunity just to create. And that was hard for me because I said, we have all these people coming in.
Right.
But by the time we get to the finished product, it's gone through probably 30 different filters. And it is. And finally, what we were able to do, we started doing plays at a place called the Shadow Theater in Denver. And it was wonderful. Like when I got there and I said, can we rent the theater? And they're like, yes. And I said, are there any stipulations or anything? And they're like, just don't kill anybody. And we were like, I said, what? Just don't kill anybody. This is fantastic. So I could write about the gospel, but I could just put it in real life. Yeah. It wasn't churchy. It wasn't in your face. It wasn't it wasn't scripture, God, scripture, God, scripture, God. It was about real life. Right. Like one of the plays we did, it was called, If You're Going to Tell the Story, Tell It Right. And it was about a grandmother that took care of raised her grandkids because her daughter was a drug addict. And he ended up, they thought he got killed. And it's a Christmas play. It was a Christmas play. But when we came here, I started doing it for the Potter's House North. And I've done 3 of their Christmas plays. Okay. And it was so, because they're open to it. They were open to the creativity aspect. That's good. And so whenever I approach a church or a church approaches me, then I let them know, okay, this is what the idea is. You're saying, like, initially the Potter's House North said, we have like 5 or 6 different things going on. Like our kids' church wants to do something, the men want to do something, our youth want to do something. Can you make that a play? And I said, sure, I can make that a play. So I tied it all together and we called the play The Gift. Okay. And so when I offer, or when a church approaches me, I let them know, they tell me what their idea is, what they're trying to capture, whether it's for Christmas, whether it's for Easter, or whether it's just a play in general. Okay. And then I extend to them, it's like, okay, we can do this. I'll present the ideas to you. Then after that, because a lot of churches don't have a creative arts ministry. So it isn't just that I want to write a play for them. Right. I want to create a ministry within their ministry so that after we're gone, because Christopher and Jason, they always help me. After we're gone, there's still a place for their creative people to connect.
That's good.
Yes.
So why did you decide to write the book?
What is the book about?
I know, I'm having an AARP moment. Can you see? Like, I'm like, I started writing the book, and it's interesting because I started writing the book the year my mom died. Oh. And my brother. And so Paul died in February and my mom died in October. And
what year was that?
2018.
Okay.
Yeah, so it was just a couple of years ago.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And it was like, I kept telling the Lord, like, my hope is gone. Do you know what I mean? We're so connected to people in our lives, and it was hard for me to feel hopeful about my future because I was so connected to my mom, so connected to my brother. They were the people I talked to like every day. My brother was straight crazy. I absolutely loved him, because, you have that one sibling that kind of you really rock with, you know what I mean? Like you have other brothers and sisters, but from the time Paul was young, he always just had this connection. And so sometimes when people couldn't understand me, he was my emotional interpreter. Like, like sometimes something would happen with the family and they'd say, oh, Kathy's mad, Kathy's this. And he's like, no, let me tell you what's going on with her. He was that kind of brother, right? And my mom, obviously, I talk to her every day. And Paul died of cancer. Mom died of end stage dementia.
Mhm.
And both of those, excuse me, I'm sorry.
Mhm.
Both of those deaths are prolonged.
Right.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So you
Yeah.
go through like this
Oh,
whole long
Mhm.
process with both of them. And I told the Lord, I said, my hope is gone. My hope for my future, my hope for my, and the Lord said, I want you to write about hope. And I said, apparently, Lord, you did not hear me. I said, my hope is gone.
Yeah.
But I started writing. And one of the things, like I ministered yesterday,
Mhm.
when you start writing your story, and all of us should, I tell
Yes.
people, I don't care how old you are, I don't care how young you
Yes.
are, you should write your story. Because the day that you're not here,
Somebody else can read it.
you can tell your history. Your kids will know about those little things that you really couldn't tell them face to face.
Mm.
Do you know what I mean? Or
Yeah.
maybe there's parts of history that you did tell them that they'll forget.
Mhm.
So even if you're not writing to publish it, write your story, because your story makes a difference. And so I was writing about hope and how right now I feel as a nation, as a world, we've lost our hope.
Mhm.
And we see it every day on social media. Hopeless people
Yeah.
don't value anything. They
Wow.
don't value their lives. They
No,
don't
they don't.
value the lives of
That's
others.
That's true.
They don't put the same into their job. They don't put the same into their family. It's almost like they're waiting for life to end, but they're not doing anything to actively end it,
Mm.
but they're waiting for life to end.
It's like every day they get up, it's like
Exactly. They're just going through the motions,
Motion.
going through the motions. And so the Lord told me, you write about hope. You write about what hope feels like.
Mhm.
You write about, and so let me read a portion of it to you.
Wow. So do you think when you say they've lost their hope, nothing, because even when you look at all the killing that's going on now,
Yes.
could that be part of people just don't care?
Yes.
They don't care about what happened to them. I just go kill people because
And-
there's
and-
nothing to live for to them.
And that's what I mean. People don't
Yeah.
realize that hopelessness is right now, it's an
That's-
epidemic.
Yeah.
And you can even see it in young kids, because one of the things I do outside of writing is I use acting exercises to work with at-risk youth.
Mhm.
And so
Mm.
a lot of at-risk youth aren't taught the fundamentals of life. They don't have life skills. They don't know how to interview for jobs. Most young kids, like between the ages right now of, let's say, 12 and 18, really don't know how to hold conversations with adults.
They
Right.
don't. You're right.
Right.
Do you know what I mean? Like when
Yeah.
you meet them someplace, or even if maybe you go into a fast food restaurant,
Mhm.
customer service is lacking and people get upset. And I'm like, but we're not teaching our youth.
Right.
There's like this step that's been missed. I don't know about you guys, but like when I was younger and my mom she would tell me things like, baby, when you get up from the table, you straighten your dress, you pull your
Right.
shirt down.
Yeah.
And I said, and it's little things like that. Like I notice young ladies don't even do that anymore. Do you know what I mean? But my mom and my father, they taught me how to interact with people.
Right.
They taught us how to hold conversation, and not just with people like me.
Right.
Right.
Do you know what I mean?
Oh, yeah, I hear
When
you.
you really want to equip your children,
Mhm.
what you do is you make sure you put them in places where, even though you may be intimidated in being, you make sure your child isn't intimidated.
Right.
And so I use those exercises to talk to kids. Like when I worked in Amarillo, I started at Amarillo Little Theater, but I ended up as the director of a YMCA.
Mhm.
And the reason for that was because I would go across town to teach acting to the kids, because Amarillo's really divided. Like Route 66 actually goes through an African-American neighborhood, but they moved it
Mm.
because they didn't want Route 6. It's not a pretty view of Route 66.
Wow.
No.
So Route 66, there was like a little fork. And so now it kind of goes like this. And then here's the African-American neighborhood.
Mm.
But I would go and I would work with the kids, and there were like usually somewhere between 175, 200 kids, there weekly in this program.
Mm.
And the first time I went, we started talking about Shakespeare and acting. But what I was trying to get them to do is just engage in conversation,
Right.
try to figure out how to talk with people, and then
That's good.
remind them how creative they can be. Because you can correct somebody using acting exercises, because it's like you guys are creating something together, as opposed to saying, let me fix you.
Right.
Do you know what I mean?
I hear you.
And they would have fun. Like we would paint sets together, we'd create costumes together. But what it did is it kind of pulled them out of the world. There's extreme poverty in Amarillo. Like some of the kids, their parents weren't in their lives. So I didn't use the term parent as a director. I only said, who's the adult in your life?
Okay.
And so I had to reach out to just ask, can they be in the program? You know, can I teach them writing? And so I'd go to certain houses, and we think about this like Little House on the Prairie or whatever. But really it's just wide planks of wood with gaps in between. Like I could sit in a house, there's no AC, there's no heat.
Wow.
And I could look through the cracks and just see outside. And I remember thinking, you know, we're so busy, like, but I knew when you bring something creative into an industry or a place like that, it brings hope.
Yeah.
It brings hope.
That's true.
Yeah.
That's true. That's true.
But
so what about your book?
well, this
You was
book,
gonna read some of
I
it.
am. This book is called An Ironic Hope.
Why you say ironic?
The reason I called it an ironic hope, because I told the Lord, I said, okay, everything about this is ironic. If you're going to ask me to write about hope in the year that my mother and my brother died, do you know what I mean? It's like, yes, this is the best time. While you're grieving, this is the best time to write about hope. I said, no, Lord, this is not.
Yeah.
This is not.
Pull it out of you.
This is not the best time to write about hope. But he had, you know, he had a different thing in mind. So let me.
That's interesting. Though.
Yeah, that is.
Because you can write about something that you are dealing with. That's your hope.
And that, you know, one of the things that I write about in the book, and I shared this yesterday when I was ministering, because as you write, and I meet people that tell me they want to write their life story, but one thing I found in writing this book, and I shared this yesterday, there's the way that I've looked at my life, but I'm very careful the way I verbalize it.
Yeah.
When you testify to people, like I shared that I had been molested. And so when you think about that, you can kind of detach yourself from it.
Yeah.
But when you're writing it and you have to read it over and over, you have to read the details of life. You have to read about your difficulties. You have to read about your victories. You're literally reliving it.
Right.
And that's sometimes hard to do.
Ooh, it's really hard to do.
It's really hard to do that.
It's really hard to do. There's two different ones, but
That's really hard to do.
it's called An Ironic Hope. So I'm going to read a portion, and it's just from the first chapter.
Okay.
And this one is called Hope is Needed. Hope causes you to treat yourself and others with a certain dignity. It reminds you that life is valuable. It creates a canvas of your future and offers you possibilities of healing and restoration. Hopelessness is the exact opposite. It will convince you that you are not valued. It doubles down on your self-hatred or self-loathing. It creates an internal dialogue that will play on a loop in your brain while you're trying to figure out a way to escape it. When you can't figure out a way to escape, you start to think your life isn't worth living. You start treating others the way you treat yourself. When you feel hopeless, you don't count the cost of your actions. Hopelessness will convince you that your future is a foregone conclusion. And the pain you're feeling now, you keep telling yourself that same pain will be there to meet you in the future. Part of getting our hope back means we have to create a space for it within our lives, an area that we dedicate to the ideas that hope births in us. which can often be incredibly hard to do. And at times it almost seems selfish. When there's a new public tragedy in the news or on social media every day, how can I have hope? How dare I believe for something wonderful and restorative to happen for me when every day all I see are images of other people's suffering, death, and loss? I've learned that's what hope is about. Hope gives us strength. My feelings of hopelessness may be overwhelming me today, and I don't have the strength or capacity to offer myself anything to break its hold on me. But this is the day when your hope is strong and you're using your tools, and you can see hope in an area of your life that gives you enough strength to encourage me to hold on, to push back against the feelings of hopelessness that are overwhelming me. Hopelessness and despair can take away your willingness to reach out to others. Right. Instead, we make a choice to forget about our empathy, forget about our humanity. We become so self-absorbed that we focus only on our own comfort and pain.
Right.
Wow.
Or we isolate ourselves and the picture that we've created in our minds starts to take over. Then we forget that one of the wonders of humanity is that we can each become an answer to someone else's need.
That is nice.
That was beautiful.
Thank you.
Gosh, and that's part of her book, you all.
An ironic
I
hope.
mean, I was off into that boy. I was just listening like, what's going to happen next?
Right.
Gosh, so how many pages do you think your book going to be?
Well, right now I can tell you it's pretty long. But the nice thing about the writing process, you know how you just kind of, you put it all out there and then you're like, oh, wait, hold on. But actually, I gave myself a date. So my prayer is, and obviously everything's coming together, but it'll be out before the end of the summer. And thank you. That's good. It'll be done before the end of the summer, because one of the things that the pandemic did, I said it was like back to back. So it was almost like the Lord was like, I have to give you something to do, because you can't grieve, then go through a pandemic, then go through. And I would write about hope, and then something would come to try and break my hope again. I'd write about hope, and then I'd have to go back, because each time I think we go through a difficult time, I know I learn a different lesson about hope.
Right. Okay.
I learned that there's something that me, Kathy, these are things I have to do.
Right.
Or I'm not going to make it. I'm not going to feel hopeful. But I keep forgetting too, one of the things that we have to remember is people are watching us.
Ooh, say that again.
People are watching
us.
Yes,
they are.
Yes, they are.
They want to see how we make it. Sometimes people will, like, they stalk you on social media. Do you know what I mean? They never like anything. They look at your Snap, they look at Instagram, they look at TikTok, they look at all these things, and they want to reach out, but something about you encourages them. It gives them hope. And I've learned in these past few years that hope isn't something we can take for granted.
That's right.
When I wrote and said you have to create a place for it in your life, we put ourselves last always.
Right.
That's
With
true.
our mental health, our physical health, and especially within our community, because we tell somebody, you so crazy. We don't mean go to a therapist, get counseling, and get some assistance. we don't mean that.
No.
Do you know what I mean?
We really think they're crazy.
Yes, exactly. We do, and we just let
and
people
we look over it, but really they need help.
They did, and one part of the things that helped me hold on to my hope is I went to counseling. I went to therapy, and going to therapy.
Black people don't go there.
I know, and that's the thing. And people told me that. They're like, especially when you're grieving, they'll tell you, baby, your mother's with the Lord. I know my mother's with the Lord, but I need Jesus with a degree and a couch so I could just lay out and tell Jesus, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Right.
But our community will quickly dismiss mental health issues.
That's right.
And hopelessness is a mental health issue.
That's right.
Depression, anxiety,
Right.
and they all tie together. But therapy is one of the tools, along with obviously prayer, consistent fellowship, because that was the other hard part. I said, Lord, it's hard to write about hope when I can't connect to people.
Right.
You know, for the pandemic, we were so separated
Right.
and isolated.
Right.
But it's an ironic hope, and it's a book about believing in hope, regaining your hope. And it isn't just like a story. I do tend to, you know, wrap up wisdom in stories because I think people get it better that way. But
do you think that one day that you will put this in a play?
yes.
Oh, that's good.
I think that'll be good.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
But you know, just listening to you, Kathy, I'm a little angry now
Why?
because
Don't be angry.
I'm angry because
You need
you have
therapy?
all of this and you've been slacking on us.
I know. I know.
I'm waiting on this play to come to the Church Within International Ministries. And I want you to start doing this. I mean, I'm just sitting here just thinking, this woman has so much
He's faithful.
to give.
You know we'll do it.
You got to, you know,
And
you
I
have
know.
the support here.
Yes,
you know,
I know
you
that.
know we will
That I know.
support you. So I want you to start writing on this Christmas play.
And that's the thing. Yes, we start in August, but you know, our last play for Easter, we was working and we
You know,
tried
we're
to-
gonna start on this one. We
Yes.
gotta start on this one. And you know, we'll get in there. That's one thing I said, we will get in there and
I know.
help you.
You guys
and
always
you got a
support
pastor
me.
that will build stuff.
Yes.
Long as he know, you know, we
Right.
want us a Christmas play this year.
And I think it would be really cool if we opened it up to the community.
Yeah, just
Like
bring
held
some people
auditions. Held auditions.
in. Yeah,
and
go
then
out
let
there
people-
like Tyler Perry. We go over there and Lord said, grab some of them. And bring
Oh, wait. Hold on, Jesus. Wait.
we gotta give them some hope.
Yes, we do. But first we're going to give coffee and a breathalyzer at the door.
We'll have a hope audition
Yes.
over here.
Yes.
And a security check.
As
Yeah.
security check.
Get a wand.
I know. And a wand. And we
I
need
think
some.
that
No.
would be good though.
It would be.
do have some,
It would be. No, we need
bring in
anointing
some
oil
other people
in a spray
in.
bottle for this team.
That-
We need anointing oil in a spray bottle. Like, here. We're going to get you as you're coming up the hall. Glory.
There you go, you know.
Mhm.
But
I
but
would
you
love
know,
to do
I
that.
think we should. I think that would be a good idea
Yeah.
if you get your skit together and play. Because Kathy does some awesome skits. She's done some here. We even did some on the thing. You know, I just said, Kathy, can you put together this for me in my sermon? And she and her husband come right in and do that.
Yes.
And
Mr.
you
Witt.
know, we all, and I used to write plays and all of that. I did. I used to write some.
Why did
I
you
got some plays.
stop?
Cause you came and I was gonna.
Oh. And you said, I don't have to do it anymore.
I don't have to do it anymore because Kathy is here
Kathy.
at the door. Kathy is here. Okay, so anyway, that's the reason why I quit. But I still write because I like to do things instantaneously.
I know.
You know, it gotta
You're
show you
creative that way.
things. You know, like yesterday, that was a
Mhm.
creative little. Like I'm like you, I like to see something visual and stuff. And when God give it to me, we can do it.
Amen.
And you know, I mean, you can do a skit just like that. And Kathy and them are good at putting them together. You know, but really, we need to work on that.
I would love to work on
And
that.
you
I
have
would love
your
to.
business is called Creative.
Yes, it's called CT&I, which stands for Create, Teach, and Imagine.
Mhm.
And so what it is again, I'm a writer,
Yeah.
but I'm also a ghostwriter and a playwright. So people reach out and they want to tell their story, but they don't know how to tell it.
Mhm.
And I am the person that can put it together for them and create the picture that they have in their mind.
Mhm.
The other thing, like I told you, we do the training. I do the training. Christopher does as well. But, you know, he has his other business work that he's doing. So, but I do go in, work with at-risk youth. And one of the things that I'm trying to do this year, I want to work with more companies, especially because we had such a high unemployment,
Mhm.
you know, and so people are transitioning back in. And literally people have lost social skills. Like over the last year,
Oh,
they have
right,
lost.
yeah.
They have
Yeah.
lost their social
Yeah.
skills.
You're right.
And so, but I want to go in, I want to train, I want to talk with people and just get them reacclimated, because sometimes people can't do better because they don't know better.
That's right.
They hang around the same people, so they hold the same kind of conversation. They carry themselves the same way. They dress the same way. But there's a way to creatively engage people so they want to make the change, not you making the change for them.
So you're trying to motivate them
to make those changes. But create, teach, and imagine. So my hope is to start working with at-risk youth and more adults. But I really want to see the difference with, especially that age range starting about 13, 14 and going up, when they could really use their skills sharpened. Because some of our kids get opportunities, and then when they show up for the opportunity, intimidation changes to like anger or rebellion, because they're just saying, hey, I don't know how to interact here. Nobody showed me. So and
they're not getting it at home.
Exactly. So I am the person to come. I'm the person to come to your classroom. I'm the person to come to your company. I'm the person to come to your community center to work with, whether it's adults, whether it's youth. If you are writing a story and you're like, I don't know how to put the words together. That's what I do.
That's good. That is awesome. You know, and it is so good that you brought that out, though, you know. And I think I need to hook you up with Daphne. Because, you know, Daphne goes to the schools and stuff. And I think you and Daphne could talk. Daphne Brookins. Yes. Shout out to you, Daphne Brookins. She's been on the show. And Daphne goes, she's a council. She's on the Fort Worth board. And she goes, because I go and speak. I go and speak to the kids. And I'm talking about, you know, resumes, interviewing and all that stuff. And just talking to them. But that might be a good way to get you into the schools.
I would love to do that. That's what I did. I did it with the Women's Center.
Yes, you sure did. See, I used to go to the Women's Center, and we're still partners with the Women's Center.
Yes, we love Women's Center.
I think we are still partners with the Women's Center, with the workforce and stuff like that. So that would be good, especially even with adults.
Yes, especially with adults.
We need to. And you know, it's something we can talk about too, even having maybe a training session here where we can bring into the community and put it out there. We can maybe do it on a Saturday. I can get with the thing. That's really what we got to hear and get our church.
She said that's a side note for everybody. Everybody that doesn't know, we're looking for a building.
Yes, we are.
On the edge of Fort Worth and Arlington, right there, with lots of space, lots of theater space, a parking lot.
Because we have so much that we can give back to the community. You're limited when you're renting and stuff. So, but we're appreciative to be here. Yes. But I see so much. But you know what? Just listening to you tonight, I'm going to push you. I'm going to get right behind you, on the side of you. I want you to do your thing. And we're going to start making announcements about this Christmas play.
Yes, ma'am.
And when set you up say our you want to start, we're going to have to do it. So we can get people into it. You probably already know some people.
Yes.
And everything.
We want to know new people. We want people to come to bring some and engage and connect.
And plus, you know what? You might be good even meet with Theo. You know, Theo might be good for her. Theo, I'm going to introduce you to Theo, because Theo is the one that be writing movies and all that. His show is coming up this Thursday.
I would love to.
Yeah, I'll have to hook you up with Theo.
Really?
He's good.
That would be awesome.
He's been working on different movies and everything like that. So Theo will be good.
That would be wonderful.
At Right Place. So I'm going to have to get with Theo and bring him over, because we get ready to do a little skit thing with the courtroom and stuff. And I love being Judge Elma, you know. So
really?
We working on it now.
So I want to be there for that.
Yeah, that's fun. We just did one for him. He's auditioning for something. But anyway, I'm going to hook you up with Theo too, because you're good at writing skit. Yes. But we're going to get this going, because I see the passion in it.
Yes.
I think you just need some more hope.
I know, I do. I need some more hope.
I need some more hope to do this. And I'm going to help you do this. We're going to push you. and get you out there and everything. And I'm so glad you was able to come on the show.
I am so
and
grateful
talk about
to be
this. And
here.
we're going to have to do a part 2.
I can do a skit.
Yes, we should. That would be good, Kim.
I would love
we
to
could
do
do
that.
a little 45-minute skit.
She gonna bring the new.
Yes, work on that, and we can do that.
I
That
can
would
do
be
that.
fun too. That
I
would
can
be
do
fun.
that. I would love to do
Let's
that.
do that. I like that idea, Kimberly. Kimberly already approved it, so we got that. So look for us, because we're gonna be
You better get
doing
your
some
stamp of
awesome
approval.
different things on the talk show. We already had sermons. We're gonna bring back our sermons and everything. But that's a good idea to do a skit. But our time is going real fast. But we're gonna have you back. We've had Kathy on the show before. She and her husband, they're an interracial couple.
We are.
And I mean, they were awesome. So we're going to get them back on the show again. They are so funny. They are so funny on the show.
Don't give Christopher the room,
Oh,
baby, because he
Lord.
can
But
act.
Christopher has been on the show too, and
Yes,
with the men
Christopher can
panel
act.
here. But it can sing. I tell you, sometimes I be thinking,
Yes.
is that a black man singing?
I know.
And he come out and and he gets mistaken about that all the time. They be
He
like,
does. I told
they be
you.
laughing. They be like, that's a black man that's
I
singing.
told you he
No,
sang.
it's not.
He sang happy birthday at a friend of mine, her aunt, and her aunt is blind.
Oh,
And so
no.
he came in and she said, Chris, sing for her. And so Chris sang happy birthday, and I could see her aunt whispering and whispering and whispering. And finally she just said it out loud, that's not a white man. Come here, boy. And she was feeling his face, and she's like, I don't believe you white. I don't believe you white, like you can feel white. I said, no. But he gets that all the time. People will say, maybe he's light complected. I said, no. I said, no, he's white.
But they are a beautiful couple. They are funny.
Thank you.
And people are always looking at them because Kathy up here, he's
Yes. It's
And
the
so it is
5'9"
so
to
funny,
6'4",
so-
but he's so confident.
He is.
Like he's the one that's like, baby, put on your heels. And I'm 6'7" and he's like 5'10". Like she's mine.
He's y'all look up to her, y'all. Look
She's
up
mine.
to her.
She's with me.
This is mine over here, you know.
Yes.
But we're going to have them on the show again. They are so funny. And they'll talk about the racial slurs and everything that they have
yes.
experienced. How long y'all been married?
20 years.
20 years. So they have a story to talk about and everything. So, but Kathy, before we leave, what inspiration and hope can you give to our audience?
I would tell you to keep moving forward. Because the one thing that's happening right now is people are behaving as if life will never change.
That's right.
Hope reminds you your life is going to change.
Yes.
You just have to keep telling yourself. You
Self.
have to
Thank
start
you.
to silence the voices that are
Yes,
telling you
yes.
it's never going to get better, or you'll never have enough
Say
money,
it.
or you're not going to make it. You're going to make it. There's
Yes,
a
you
reason
are.
I'm here today to tell you you're
Yes.
going to make it. You're going to get past this season. But if you try to cut your life short, you'll never know what your future can be.
Oh, I love that. I love that. And we're going to have Kathy back on the show because she has some more inspiration and hope to tell you about it. And we know in this little time, we can't get it all in. But we do appreciate you, Kathy, for stopping
Thank you
by.
for inviting me.
Being with us. And we appreciate you. So tune in every Monday and Thursday, 8 p.m., Facebook and YouTube. And if you would love to be on the show, check me out at elmatalkshow.com. I just do that to see if they remember.
Is it Talk of Life?
Yeah, so y'all just tune
With
in.
Elma.
It's elmatalkshow.com where you can get on there. Or you can just inbox me on Messenger, and I would love for you to come on because everybody has a story.
Yes,
And
exactly.
we would love for you to come on and tell your story. And always know that somebody is going to be helped by listening to your story.
Amen.
So until we see you face to face, this is the Talk of Life Talk Show with the approval of Kimberly over
Thank you,
there
man.
and Linda and our special guest tonight, Kathy Witten. Thank you. We love you. Good night.
Good night.